We learn from good examples like Nehemiah and many others. But as we'll see in our next video, we also learn important lessons from those who made poor decisions.
I was born to two Christian parents. They always tried to instill in us a love for Jehovah. But I felt quite lonely growing up, and I felt like I didn't have people who wanted to do the same things. The lifestyle, the way they spoke, the music they were listening to. And so for me, the real struggle was, where do I stand? Where are my boundaries going to be set? It's really hard, because it could be the difference between having a friend and not having a friend.
Over the years, I've talked to several who perhaps drifted a little bit in the truth. And that unfortunately happened to some of my friends. And nobody is immune to the pressures of the world.
I was born and raised by Christian parents, so all through my childhood and teenage years, I was happy serving Jehovah, but it got a little bit harder when I started to work. People at work would ask to do social activities with them, go for a drink and things, but there were men who would ask me to go out with them. It's flattering when someone shows interest in you, so it was nice, but it was hard to have to constantly remind yourself, well, you know that this is not going to be successful. You know this person doesn't love Jehovah.
I remember one day I drove into a parking lot and I just prayed to Jehovah with tears in my eyes, and I said, this is too hard. This is just too hard. The people that were my friends are starting to leave the truth. I feel quite lonely, but I want to serve you. After that prayer, I went home. I spoke to my mom, and she got really quiet, and she just looked at me and said, anything Jehovah tells you is to benefit yourself. And it clicked in that moment that Jehovah was saying to me, I love you. I will carry you through this time. And you'll see that there'll be all these blessings that open up to you, and you'll have a really wonderful, colorful life, but you have to hang in there.
This is fascinating and quite ironic, because what we have here is a segment in the April JW Broadcasting episode with the message, really, hang in there, as we just heard. Jehovah's Witnesses, you need to hang in there. Don't you dare wake up to the fact that you're in a cult and drift away and start to think for yourself and live outside of the organization, outside of its control. We want you inside. We want you compliant. We want you following our direction. You've got to hang in there. Don't be led astray. And they're pitching this message by including the stories of people whose Jehovah's Witness experience growing up was obviously crappy. They were obviously miserable. I mean, this girl that we've just been hearing from describes crying by herself in a car park because she was struggling so much with not having friends. And this is the problem, by the way, when you grow up in the Jehovah's Witness religion. You're only allowed to really have friends who are fellow believers, meaning that if there isn't really anyone of your age, or there are few people of your age in your congregation, you're going to struggle. It's going to be difficult for you to have friends. So I can relate to this, that I've been through this situation where you're lonely. There's no one really for you to hang around with because of this intensely insular nature of the organization where everyone on the outside has to be distrusted. And this is all on full display. They're not ashamed of any of this. They even include the example there of the sister who is talking about people at work making romantic overtures. And she's like, oh no, I wouldn't dream of getting into a relationship with someone who doesn't love Jehovah. So straight away, anyone watching this JW Broadcasting episode who isn't a Jehovah's Witness should be taking notes. This is how fanatical this organization is. If you become a Jehovah's Witness, you can only have Jehovah's Witness friends, and you can only consider other Jehovah's Witnesses for dating or marriage.
Even though it was hard, I resisted the temptation. but someone close to me who faced the same pressure gave in and ended up leaving Jehovah. When I heard that she was disfellowshipped, it just completely hit me so hard, because you really are just worried about what is going to happen with their future. After a while, she did come back to Jehovah. She's raising a child on her own. One day we were having a video chat, and with a little one just playing in the background. But she suddenly turned around and went, "Mommy, why did you marry someone who doesn't love Jehovah?" So she understood that we need to live according to Jehovah's standards.
As elders, we can help people to get up and get back on the path to life. And it's a real pleasure. I'm reminded about the account of David. Eventually, he was forgiven by Jehovah because he had a good heart. However, there were consequences all through his life.
I've received so many blessings for sticking to Jehovah. I found a lovely brother to marry in the Christian congregation, and we're very happy together. The thing to do is just stick with Jehovah, taste and see that Jehovah is good. When you do that, you will appreciate that there is absolutely no need to go anywhere else.
Having observed what has happened to people who've left the truth and the baggage they sometimes end up carrying when they come back into the truth, it makes me feel it's just not worth it. Really, Jehovah's like a parent. He wants to protect us and care for us. Things will always work out for the best if you do things Jehovah's way. I feel my family's had many blessings as a husband and a father. I've got 4 children who've all grown up in the truth, and they've all gone on to have good theocratic lives where they've enjoyed many privileges of service. So for me, it's been a real blessing to do things Jehovah's way.
I think when you test out the world, Satan will give you immediate satisfaction, but when you serve no purpose to him anymore, that's it. One of the most beautiful blessings I've received is people around you who love Jehovah, who want to serve him the way you do. I really strongly believe that Jehovah not only gives us a lot of blessings, but gives us blessings that he's handpicked for us.
My observation would be experience is not the best teacher, Jehovah's the best teacher.
Jehovah wants us to be happy and avoid the painful consequences of bad decisions. If you're facing a test of integrity in some way, remember that, as our brother said, Jehovah is our best teacher.
Yes, Jehovah is our best teacher, or as the guy put it, experience is not the best teacher. Jehovah's the best teacher. Don't have the experience of leaving the organization and seeing for yourself whether your life implodes. Just take it from us that that's going to happen. We're saving you time here. We're saving you time and emotional heartache with these stories that we're showing you of mostly people who never ventured outside of the organization. We're saving you untold misery by pleading with you not to stray, to stay inside the organization at all costs. Wow, how manipulative. And for me, this just smacks of desperation. This is an organization that is seeing people leaving, that is hemorrhaging members, and this is the way they're responding, by putting this in their JW broadcasting episode for April, effectively pleading with witnesses not to leave. And you had that story of this girl who resisted the overtures of people at work, and now she's acting all judgmental when it comes to talking to her friend on the phone, because her friend had a child with someone in the world. And for me, it was heartbreaking to hear that this child is also now being indoctrinated, so that a child of an unbelieving father is already saying that it's wrong to get into a relationship with someone who doesn't love Jehovah. How sad. already the cycle is continuing. This girl who ended up in a relationship outside of the organization is just passing on this indoctrination, just passing on these fears and these stigmas. Oh, you really shouldn't do what I did. You really need to only marry within the organization. And look what happens when you do that, when you follow this advice. Because this super judgmental, super spiritual sister who resisted these overtures at work, she says,
I found a lovely brother to marry in the Christian congregation, and we're very happy together.
yeah, that sounded totally compelling. We can really hear how happy and how in love you are when you refer to the love of your life, your soulmate, as a lovely brother in the Christian congregation. Oh, and then this guy comes and sits next to her on the couch, and he's wearing his cream slacks. That's the signature Jehovah's Witness casual look, by the way, if you didn't know before. When you're not at the meeting, or when you're not trying to recruit people into the organization, when you're just having your downtime around the house, don't you dare wear jeans. You need to wear nice cream slacks, with your shirt tucked in and your belt showing. That's a signature casual Jehovah's Witness look. And this super spiritual sister has found a lovely brother who dresses this way. And she's so in love that she's calling him a lovely brother. Yeah, totally convinced there that you've found your soulmate. And we get another stupid one-liner from this elder guy when he says,
Things will always work out for the best if you do things Jehovah's way.
things will always, always work out for the best if you, for example, refuse a blood transfusion, because that's what's required if you're a Jehovah's Witness. Even if it's life-saving, even if you would die refusing a blood transfusion, things are working out for the best doing that. Things will always work out for the best if you shun your disfellowshipped family member, even if they go on to commit suicide because they can't deal with the loneliness. Things have worked out for the best there. Things will always work out for the best when child abuse is covered up by an organisation that says it hasn't even happened if there weren't two witnesses. Things are totally working out for the best when an individual is being shielded from the authorities and can go on to accumulate more victims. It's all working out for the best because we're doing things Jehovah's way. It's indescribable how stupid that line is. But that's the sort of throwaway remark that's supposed to impress Jehovah's Witnesses. You also have this sister saying, I call her a sister. She's not my sister. You have a young lady saying,
I think when you test out the world, Satan will give you immediate satisfaction. But when you serve no purpose to him anymore, that's it.
what a stupid, mindless thing to say. We're talking about someone who doesn't know whether this is true because they've never gone into the world. The claim itself doesn't make sense. Satan will give you immediate satisfaction, but when you serve no purpose to him anymore, that's it. The implication being, when you leave the organization, you have a purpose to Satan, so he will give you satisfaction. But after a while, you will stop serving a purpose to Satan, and that's it, meaning he abandons you and leaves you miserable. Well, what purpose was served originally, and how did the person stop serving that purpose? All of this is very vague, isn't it? It's basically just scaremongering people into believing that if they leave the organization, things may seem as though they're going well to begin with, but ultimately things are going to deteriorate when you stop serving a purpose to Satan. Just total scaremongering, isn't it? The reality is that things could go well or not well, and quite often when things don't go well, it's because the young person is ejected into the world, having been disfellowshipped, or for some other reason, and they are completely unequipped to deal with the world, to function in society, because they've gone their entire childhood being manipulated into thinking that Satan's world is out to get them. They're distrustful, they're naive, they don't know how to function, and as a result, they suffer more because of the way they've been trained to think of society in general. It creates this self-fulfilling prophecy. So, the whole thing, viewers, was just enraging. But I suppose we should look on the plus side, which is that this is clearly an organization in utter desperation. If this is the sort of manipulative nonsense they are foisting on Jehovah's Witnesses.